Whether on TV or online, this is iPower 1. Go to TuneIn.com, keyword iPower 1 FM. Listen online or download the app for free via Android and listen 24/7.
From jail guards to facing life in prison, 3 federal correction officers arrested, accused of raping inmates at the Metropolitan Detention Complex in Brooklyn. News 4's Checky Beckford is live. She's in downtown Brooklyn, where the 3 men are going to face a judge. Checky?
That's right, Pat. The 3 men could face a judge at any time this evening. Their arraignment is apparently momentarily happening. They're accused, as you mentioned, of raping or abusing female inmates that they were supposed to be overseeing. One of those men, Lieutenant Carlos Martinez, is accused of using physical force or intimidation to repeatedly rape one inmate over a period of 5 months. A law enforcement source says Martinez and Lieutenant Eugenio Perez were both arrested at the MDC, or Metropolitan Detention Center, where they work earlier today. Perez, federal prosecutors say, sexually abused 5 different inmates over a 5-year period, allegedly luring them into isolated situations and using intimidation and threats of retaliation. Officer Armando Maranta is accused of having criminal sexual contact with inmates for 2 months last year. Today's indictments, we're told by federal prosecutors, were the result of a year-long investigation that included corroborated statements from female inmates. Back out here live, they say they also used surveillance video from the MDC Detention Center and social media to make those arrests. Again, we're awaiting the arraignment of these 3 correctional officers. No word yet on any attorneys for either of the men. We're live in downtown Brooklyn tonight. Checky Beckford, News 4 New York.
Police tell me that this driver hit this 60-year-old woman, killing her, then took off. Now, it happened around midnight this morning here at Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard and West 113th Street. Officers say the driver hit this woman with a silver sedan as she crossed the street. Police pronounced the woman dead at the hospital. Right now, police are investigating. They've made no arrests, and they're notifying family before releasing the identity. And if you have any information, you're urged to contact them.
Tens of thousands in this marching army taking to the streets of the tri-state today. On the Upper West Side, a sea of women and men fighting for equal pay, ending sexual harassment, and speaking out against the White House.
Donald Trump has got to go!
I cannot stand the president or the GOP the way it is, and I'm a Republican. But they have turned me so bad. They're idiots. They don't tell the truth. They're disgusting.
Many in today's crowd marched last year, the day after President Trump's inauguration. It was one of the largest protests in American history. Today, they took their frustrations straight to Trump Tower.
I have to get it out. I'm angry, and this is the way I get out my anger at Trump and his craziness and what he's doing to our country.
And there was plenty of star power on hand to double down on that message.
We're out here because women have decided that they want to take back the conversation, and they insist on being part of it.
In Morristown, New Jersey, an equally enthusiastic crowd took to the streets, joined by new Governor Phil Murphy and his wife Tammy, a sexual assault survivor. New Jersey's First Lady sharing her own story about being attacked as a college student.
The attacker got a little nervous, so he started reaching around to see what he could find to shut me up. And he found a crab apple, and when he tried to put that in my mouth, I bit him as hard as I could.
Many in the crowd told us their fight will march on until later on this year, when congressional seats are up for grabs in a midterm election the nation will be watching.
We want everyone to know that when we win, it was women who led us to victory. In San Francisco, this year the city's transit system had extra trains on standby to handle those big crowds out there. And now another look in Washington, D.C. Signs expressing displeasure at the current administration, part of the sea of demonstrators there outside the president's home, the White House. And in chilly Chicago, those iconic pink hats, they could be seen dotting the crowd, where an estimated 300,000 took to the streets in protest.
The government shutdown is just more of the same. It's the chaos, the dysfunction of Washington. It's a fitting, in some ways, end to a year of chaos, that we should have chaos here at the end of the session. The practical realities for us here in New York are the federal parks. Most notable one is the Statue of Liberty Park. I just consider it a gross injustice that we would close down the Statue of Liberty. How do you close down the Statue of Liberty? It's a symbol of New York, it's a symbol of America, and especially in today's environment where the federal government is trying to close down the Statue of Liberty, in my opinion. When they try to kick out immigrants, when they try to deport dreamers, they're trying to close down the Statue of Liberty. And the shutdown of government would practically close down the Statue of Liberty. So I'm volunteering that the state will pay to keep the Statue of Liberty open because it's the symbol of our nation. The federal government has tried to close it down symbolically. We want to keep it open literally.
How much does that cost you a day, and did it start today or will that start on Monday?
We're going to be talking to the federal government, assuming somebody answers the phone. And it's a number of personnel. It's not an extravagant cost. It makes sense for New York because, number one, it's a big tourist destination, and we don't want to lose the tourists who come here and they want to see the Statue of Liberty. Many of them are here already, and that was part of their trip. So the cost is justified just from a tourism point of view, but also the symbolism is important. You're not closing down the Statue of Liberty. As soon as we can get it done, we will.
Negotiating with this White House is like negotiating with Jell-O. It's next to impossible.
There is nothing in this bill Democrats say they object to. Yet it's like a 2-year-old temper tantrum to say, I'm going to take my toys and go home because I'm upset about something else.
Republicans and Democrats firing shots as we enter the second day of the government shutdown. The goal, a short-term spending bill. But despite Saturday talks, the sticking point is still immigration. Democrats refusing to provide the votes needed to reopen government until they strike a deal protecting DACA recipients from deportation.
They want a deal on immigration, and then they'll think about reopening the government. It is a shakedown strategy that Senate Democrats have been talked into by their base.
The Senate now hoping for a vote on a spending extension by early tomorrow.
I would invite all of my colleagues across the aisle to join together and do what is obviously responsible and right for the people we represent. Pretty clear here. Let's reopen the government. Let's resume the bipartisan discussion on funding our troops, DACA, on government spending.
The president is the leader, and he's got to get everyone in a room, and he's got to lead.
Police are hoping surveillance video will help them catch the person responsible for committing that disturbing crime in this area. Now take a good look. This is the man police are looking for. They say he followed an 11-year-old girl inside her apartment building last Wednesday evening. That's when they say he began fondling himself right in front of the girl. Now here's a closer look at the suspect. He's believed to be in his 20s and was sporting a goatee with glasses at the time. Now we're not exactly sure where the incident happened. All police can say at this time is that it was somewhere near this area of Middletown Road and Bruckner Boulevard. If you recognize this man or have any information that can help, you're asked to call police. In Pelham Bay, Melissa Rose Cooper, News 12 The Bronx.
Top business and tech headlines from Cheddar. Next week is a busy one on Wall Street. The World Economic Forum starts in Davos, Switzerland, and Netflix and Starbucks will both release their quarterly earnings. All right, you may have a lot of items in your house that you'd love to sell, but eBay and other online marketplaces might seem a little too confusing. That's what the online marketplace Mercari wants to solve. It lets consumers buy and sell stuff simply through their smartphone. It's kind of like an alternative to eBay. Scott Levitan, the CMO of Mercari, sat down with Cheddar at our WeWork studios in Hollywood, California. He says that in December, they surpassed 100 million downloads worldwide.
I mean, it starts off with a smartphone. Okay. Really, all you need is a smartphone. You take your item, you can take your beautiful tablet right there, you take a few pictures, you add a description, and boom.
It's already listed.
Your item is listed and connected to millions of people who are on the app.
He says there are no meetups, you just send the item and you get paid. I'm Jill Wagner from Cheddar headquarters.
Wheelies in high school hallways would usually land you in the principal's office, but Dion Pelage has earned this privilege.
Make me feel strong, like I earned it. It's mine. Nobody can take it from me.
And that's because he recycled this old bike with his own hands.
We teach them how to fix the bike from A to Z, from all the hubs, brake adjustment, derailleur fixing, anything that needed to be done. They overhaul the bike.
These students at Brooklyn Pathways to Graduation putting in some real elbow grease after school at biking boot camp. And here's the wheelie cool part. They get to keep the finished product.
I use it to go to Prospect Park and exercise, ride to come to school sometimes, or go to work.
People ask me about the bike, like, where you get this bike from? And I was happy about it because I was like, oh, so I made the right choice. I made this bike.
The Earn a Bike program, a collaboration with the nonprofit Recycle a Bike and the city's Department of Transportation. And students get their pick from dozens of donated bikes, from hybrids to road bikes to mountain bikes. But some of the most important lessons in this classroom don't come in a toolbox.
It teaches them problem-solving skills. It also keeps them engaged in school,
giving these English language learners an extra boost.
In the bike shop, we use English. So then they're learning parts of bikes, they're learning tools in English.
And that's what's cool at school. In Bed-Stuy, Naomi Choi-Smith, News 12.
Traffic and weather meteorologist Bruce Avery, and here is your latest Complete the Weekend Nicely forecast, and that's what we're going to do today. Saturday was very nice, lots of sunshine, a bit breezy. The winds died down overnight, however, and now today, plenty of sunshine, temperatures above normal, and also light winds. Looking at the sky cover and the humidity, the wind speeds and the temperatures, you can see that the winds have died down to almost calm in most spots, and the temperatures are above normal and will continue that way up into at least the mid-40s today, and a few spots getting into the upper 40s, low 50s. We don't expect to see any wet weather in here until late tonight at the earliest, but more likely it'll hold off until Monday, and once it's in here, we'll have showers off and on for Monday, and then some steadier rain on Tuesday, but it looks like it's all rain because the temperatures will remain above normal and definitely above the freezing mark, including today. There are the projected high temperatures around the 5 boroughs, and they're all into the 40s and at times slightly above with light winds. The light winds continue tonight, maybe a shower after midnight towards dawn. Most spots won't see it until later in the day, and there are the projected low temperatures. Temperatures around the Northeast, what a change in the last couple of weeks from the frigid air to now milder air, and in fact the milder air is all along the eastern seaboard and down through the Ohio Valley. You see small areas of green, that's drizzle and a few showers starting to show up. And the Futurecast, which is a series of forecast projections, show that those showers get closer and closer, and then a few of them into Monday and steadier later on Monday, and then a line of showery rain moving in here for the middle of the day on Tuesday into the early afternoon. But it will be rain. High temperatures on Monday, 45, 53 on Tuesday. Turns colder for the middle of the week, and then milder again for next weekend. This has been your latest News 12 traffic and weather forecast. Know before you go.